lie! Huh? Oh? Why? Huh? That's so mean.
Got a minute?
Ah. Huh?
Confidence! Dreams! That's what the Killing Game is all about! Killing Game fans! Hold your head high and watch with your own two eyes! Baseball, soccer, mobile games! They're all nothing compared to the Killing Game! The Killing Game just can't be beat! Behold, students! The entrance to the trial grounds!
Oh. Huh? See? Man.
That's true. Do you want to die?
Oh dear. Oh. Don't worry. What? Are you okay? Ah.
I don't know.
That being said, hoo-yah!
Unacceptable.
Rest in peace.
But...
Well, you know.
I also... Indeed.
Got a minute?
Jeez. Huh?
That's right.
All right already.
Yeah.
Hey, so
Huh?
Uh-oh. Hmm.
Now then! Extreme! Ahem. Now then, let's begin with the basic explanation of the class trial. During the trial, you'll present your arguments for who the culprit is, and vote for who done it. Vote correctly, and only the blackened will be punished. But if you pick the wrong person, I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and that person will graduate from this academy. Also, refusing to vote will result in your death. So you better vote for someone. Now, smiles, everyone! It's showtime! Let's get this crazy awesome trial underway!
Sorry, everyone. I don't think I'm gonna be much help this time. Because of Monokuma's disruptions, I couldn't do a thorough investigation.
I can tell Monokuma is overcompensating to hide his self-consciousness.
Next time, spend less time fixing your hair and more time investigating, spaceman!
Shut up! I don't need to hear some comedy act from you two weirdos.
Who did it? Who killed Angie and Tenko?
Do not let your emotions hasten your judgment. There may be two killers.
So, our other culprit might not be one of us here.
What do you mean?
The transfer student. Maybe our resurrected transfer student dragged Angie and Tenko into the grave.
Stop it! Stop making stuff up!
Say something, Shuichi. It'll be a mess if this keeps going on.
This crime was committed by the recently deceased. They came back to life and killed 2 of our classmates!
No!
So, ritual did work?
That's wrong!
I don't think Angie's ritual succeeded. According to the Necronomicon Monokuma showed us, you have to burn the Necronomicon in the ritual. If Angie's ritual had succeeded, the book would have been gone.
So she must have been killed before the ritual was complete, since the book was still intact.
Then, Gonta think Rantaro probably not culprit.
Oh, I guess you're right.
Well, duh. There's no way a dead person could resurrect.
Now hold on a second! I can't let that comment stand! Sure, everybody knows that you can't bring the dead back to life. But it's easy at the Ultimate Academy, as long as you use the Necronomicon.
What are you talking about? There's no way that's possible.
But it's true. I never lie about motives.
Daddy said so he can't be wrong. Raising the dead is totally possible.
Man, I can't believe you guys wasted such a perfectly good motive. You should have let me use it to bring Monodum back to life.
Monodum is still alive, though.
I'm just kidding. I wouldn't waste a resurrection on Monodum's corpse.
Oh? So resurrecting the dead was actually possible this whole time?
There's no way it's possible!
There's no way that could happen, idiots. Monokuma is trying to confuse us. Let's hurry up and find out who the Blackened is.
If our transfer student isn't the culprit, then blame falls to one of us.
Who? Who did it?
Step aside, Half-Pint. I'll handle this. I don't know about Tenko, but I'm pretty fucking sure Kyo murdered Angie.
Why?
Don't play dumb with me, Creepshow! I already know what happened! The culprit used a katana to kill Angie. And it was found in Kiyo's research lab. Which makes you, Kiyo, automatically suspicious!
But anyone could have taken that katana, you see.
So that rusty katana was the murder weapon. You were the only one who cared about that thing, Kiyo.
I did not care about some katana.
Just admit it, you shit-eating worm. You went to the classroom, broke in.
That's wrong! No, Kiyo would not have been able to enter Angie's lab. Isn't that right, Tsumugi?
Yeah. Before Angie locked herself up in her research lab, she said she wasn't going to open up for anyone but student council members.
And Kiyo is not a member. She wouldn't have opened the door for him.
Kiyo couldn't have killed Angie even if he wanted to.
I had no desire to kill her in the first place.
So whoever killed Angie must have been one of the student council members, yeah?
I was doing a bit to lead you to the right answer. Can't believe you actually got it.
Oh, how clever.
You can just ignore her, Gonta.
The remaining student council members are Gonta, Kibo, Tsumugi, and Himiko.
Well, it can't be Himiko. She was besties with Angie. I trust their friendship. You guys do too, right?
Yeah, of course.
Can we trust their friendship so readily?
Obviously. Let's believe in them.
That trims our list of suspects down to 3. Gonta, Tsumugi, and Kibo.
Yep. The culprit is one of those 3 people.
You mean one of those 2 people? 'Cause a robot ain't people, Jack!
I will let that remark slide. Anyway, aren't these accusations just a tad too hasty?
Whatevs! The culprit should confess already! Gonta, Keyboy, or Tsumugi? Well,
No, not Gonta. Gonta would never kill Angie.
Yeah, Gonta's a gentleman. You shouldn't suspect either of us.
Hey, stick up for me too.
Gonta definitely not hurt anyone. Torture Gonta if you don't believe.
Torture might be a bit too far, but Gonta and I aren't the culprits.
And I'm not the culprit either. Jeez.
Gonta
not the
not
culprit.
You're not the culprit.
We must
Gonta
consider
is a
other
gentleman.
possibilities. Surely there must be suspects
Gonta
outside the
not
student
betray
council.
Student council.
that's utterly impossible.
For last night?
A dead chick
Not just
can't be
anyone
the
can open
culprit.
that door.
Why?
Only student council members had access.
I heard it! No, it wasn't just student council members that could have opened that lab door.
What was it you said earlier about Kiyo opening the door, Shuichi? Unless you're a student council member, you can't enter Angie's lab, right?
I was referring to Kiyo. He couldn't have done it, but you could have. Because I saw you open the classroom lock by picking it.
Oh, that happened? I totally forgot.
So you're going to pretend you don't remember, huh?
Quit glaring at me like that. Of course I remember. Yeah, I did it. I killed Angie.
Wait, what? What did you just say?
I picked the lock to her lab, snuck into the room, and then wham! Killed Angie. The culprit was me, all along.
What?
What are you saying? Is this some kind of joke?
Nah, no joke. I thought that if I confessed, I could atone for my sins. And it helped. I feel so much better. Whew!
Wait, so Kokichi really is culprit?
No, he's lying. I think. Maybe?
He's lying. I'm certain of it.
No, definitely not a lie. I killed Angie. Shouldn't you guys believe the culprit when they confess?
Then let me ask you, culprit, how did you lock the room?
Huh? Well, it's the same as opening it. You pick the door closed from the outside.
No, that doesn't make sense.
Huh? What doesn't make sense? Can't you lock a door by picking it?
Maybe, but that's not how the culprit locked the room. They used a different method.
What different method?
Yeah, Mumbles. Use your big boy voice and explain yourself.
There were 2 doors to the classroom, and the one locked last was... That's it! The back door. That's how they made this a locked room mystery.
The back door had a sliding lock, yes? How was it locked from the outside?
The culprit used a certain tool.
I see it!
The gold leaf katana that was stabbed into Kaede's effigy. The culprit used that to hit the knob of the sliding lock to lock the door.
So the gold leaf was on the sliding lock because...
Because when the katana hit the lock, some of the gold leaf rubbed off on it. The gold leaf on that katana did peel rather easily.
That evidence rings a bell. Specifically, a school bell.
Huh? Are you talking about a different school? What school was it?
Now, that doesn't matter anymore. Let's not dwell on the past.
Ooh, the gold leaf landed on the sliding lock when the katana touched it. So that means the culprit used the katana to move the sliding lock, right? But wait, how did they move it with a katana? And from outside Angie's lab?
The clue that might give us the answer is the layout of the area itself. It was an odd setup after all. The katana stabbed into the effigy. The effigies hung upside down.
Angie didn't do that as part of the ritual?
No. Nowhere in the Necronomicon did it say you had to hang the effigies.
If it was not part of the ritual, then it must have been for a different purpose, right?
It connects!
That's it. The reason the culprit stuck the katana into the effigy was so that it would hit the sliding lock as the effigy spun.
Effigy spun?
That's right. If you spun the effigy, the rope it was hanging from would twist. Then, if you let it go, the rope would unwind and the effigy would spin the other way. And of course, the katana would spin with it.
I see. So the culprit used the katana's counterspin to push the lock into place?
The culprit simply needed to spin the effigy's rope and then swiftly leave. This would cause the spinning katana to hit the sliding lock. And thus was the back door of an empty classroom locked from the inside.
Yes, that's how Angie's lab was locked. By using the effigy with the katana.
A plan born from the heart of a sword traveling through the air to intercept us. Oh, but could it have moved the slide lock so easily?
The sliding lock was pretty loose. A little push could move it. As long as the spinning katana hit the lock, it would have slid into position.
Even if the culprit failed the first couple times, they could keep trying until it locked.
Which is why the culprit chose to strike at nighttime as to avoid detection.
Yes, since the student council prohibited anyone from walking around at nighttime.
Are you saying it's the student council's fault?
I didn't say that.
In any case, the culprit probably used the murder weapon for this trick. It had to have been the right length to hit the sliding lock from the effigy.
The culprit couldn't find a blade long enough in my lab, so they settled for the katana.
The other effigies were only hung up so we'd think it was some kind of ceremony. That way, we wouldn't notice the lock trick.
But Kokichi did say earlier that he could have picked the lock closed. I don't want to completely ignore that possibility. But I can't imagine the culprit would have done all this just for a distraction.
If that's the case, then Kokichi's confession earlier was actually...
Seriously? You fucking lied again?
Cough it up, Kokichi!
Oh, man. You guys got me. Okay, I'm not the culprit.
You're telling the truth this time, right?
I want to say I'm lying, but I'm not.
Why did you say you were the culprit?
I wanted to lure the culprit out. If I claim to be the culprit, then the real culprit would agree as well. You get me? And if they pressured me to confess, then that would have looked mighty suspicious. Sheesh! Darn it. It didn't go my way because Shuichi butted in on my plan.
You and your fucking lies! Go sit in the corner and play with yourself!
Okay, I'll start right now.
All right, so who's the asshole who set up this locked room mystery?
Mew, I can't hold it up anymore.
What's the matter? You going soft on me now?
Who made the locked room mystery doesn't matter since anyone could have done it. Don't you even understand something as basic as that, you filthy cum dumpster?
Cum dumpster! Finally! Someone finally called me a cum dumpster!
What should we talk about now?
We must focus not on the locked room, but on who entered Angie's lab. Only one of the student council members or Kokichi could have gained entry. Therefore, the culprit must be among their number.
That leaves us with 4 suspects. Tsumugi, Gonta, Kibo, and Kokichi.
Don't forget Himiko. She's also a part of the student council. Doesn't matter if she was besties with Angie, she's still a suspect.
That contradicts what you said earlier, which I can prove using my recording function.
It's fine. That's just a waste of time.
Me? A suspect? I never kill Angie!
So, calling all suspects, what should we discuss next? I want to hear everyone's opinion. What would you say to get yourself off the suspect list?
Why are you trying to lead the debate? You're a suspect too.
Silence, outsider! Only the suspect rangers are allowed to speak.
Suspect rangers?
I agree. Those under suspicion should explain themselves thoroughly.
We might catch them with their pants down!
Anyway, I want to ask the suspect rangers. What should we talk about? What should we say to get ourselves off the suspect list? Well, guys, I want to hear what you think.
That's sort of a difficult question, you know?
Gonta not smart enough to know answer to that.
Yes, it is difficult to formulate a logical response to that question.
Not articulate with words, huh? Don't you guys want to prove your innocence?
They don't trust you one bit, and I don't blame them. You're probably plotting.
Why did Tenko have to die?
Huh?
I want to know what happened to Angie too, but... Can we talk about Tenko's case now and not just Angie?
I got you exactly where I wanted, Himiko.
What do you mean?
The 2 victims could have been killed by 2 separate murderers, you know. So we need to find the first Blackened responsible for the first victim. We've got to figure out who killed Angie. Until we solve Angie's case, Tenko's case is meaningless. Did you suggest that to waste our time?
It's not meaningless! Tenko's death was meaningless? How dare you! Poor Tenko! How could you do this to her? Himiko...
Himiko, stop it with your crappy lies.
Lies?
Everything you said is total BS. You didn't give 2 shits about Tenko when she was alive. But now you're like, Oh no, poor Tenko, after she's dead. Come on, really?
Kokichi, enough!
No, it's okay. It's no surprise he'd think that. I know I ignored Tenko before. That's why I'm so upset now. I should have faced Tenko, worked things out with her while she was still alive. But now, it's too late. I can't complain to her or thank her. It's too late.
Yeah, seriously! It's way too late to realize that now. Our only option is to face her death head on.
Face her death?
Himiko, I understand what you're going through. So I'm gonna help you out. Let's work together to find the truth. I'm not gonna let anyone say her death didn't matter.
Kaito! Alright. I'll put a silencing curse on whoever calls Tenko's death meaningless. The name of the curse is... Death Curse!
I suppose being dead would silence someone pretty good.
Listen up! All you guys are gonna help out too. Abandoning someone who died and only thinking about your own survival. That's just as bad as a hit and run! I won't forgive something so messed up!
Tenko was our friend. Gonta wanna know why she died too!
I already told you that's so unnecessary. We're getting sidetracked here.
No, even if it was a different culprit, we need to know how Tenko died. If we don't find out who killed her, we won't be able to work together. Not now, not ever. Even if this trial isn't for her, in order for us to survive, we need to get to the bottom of Tenko's death. Not just to survive this trial, but so we can keep going and live on!
Finally, you noticed. Jeez, you're so slow.
Huh? Did Kokichi want us to notice?
Don't listen to his crap. We haven't decided whether there were two different culprits yet.
Let us talk about Tenko's case then. Perhaps that will provide us a clue.
Yeah, maybe.
So, what do we talk about first?
For now, let's see if we can narrow down the list of suspects.
Tancrotch probably got killed during the seance, so everyone there's suspicious.
Tancrotch!
That's it! It was me, Kyo, Himiko, and Kokichi.
So those four are the culprits!
Oh, Himiko's still culprit?
Well, that's probably just a coinkydink. The most suspicious out of the four is really... Kyo. He suggested the whole seance idea.
True, I may have suggested it, but I explained the procedure beforehand, yes? If we all knew of it before the murder, then we are all equally suspicious.
Well, I suppose, but...
In addition, the seance wasn't entirely in my control either. I was not the one who selected the room we performed it in. It was Himiko.
Oh, right.
Also, we should not limit our suspects to only those who participated in the seance. The empty room had a point of entry from outside, you see.
There! You're talking about under the floor, right?
Huh? Under the floor?
Yes, there's a crawl space under the floor a person could move through. There was also a hole that connected it to the neighboring room.
If the culprit used the hole, they could have entered and exited the seance room.
If we consider that possibility, then there is another suspect.
Another suspect? Who?
It's appearing before me. Oh, I can see it clearly. The true identity of Tenko's killer. The culprit sneaked in during the seance by crawling under the floor.
But it was pitch black during the seance. How could they even see if they were under the floor?
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light.
That's wrong! I don't think the culprit could have used a light while under the floor. There was a hole in the corner of the room. If a light were used, it would have leaked through and we would have seen it.
But when we did the seance, the room was definitely pitch black.
So a light was not shined under the floor, which means you cannot claim I am the culprit.
Geez, here I thought this would be the case where the murder could only be done by a robot.
You have accused me of being the culprit more than once now, simply because I am a robot. My status as a robot does not mean I am capable of performing superhuman feats. My vision is somewhat poor, and I only possess average physical strength and intelligence.
All right, you made your point. God, now I feel sort of bad for you.
I neither want nor need your pity.
Enough with the flashlight! It's way too bright!
It would have been difficult to move around under the floor in that pitch-black darkness. Maybe the floor and the hole have nothing to do with this case.
Then why was floorboard under Tenko lined up funny? Going to think that was so culprit could stab Tenko from under floor.
Ooh, nice observation, Gonta. Are you finally getting used to the class trials?
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Don't say it like that. You're better off not being used to this kind of stuff.
Maybe they marked Tenko with glowing paint and looked for that. That'd let the culprit find her. Then they could stab her through the floorboards.
Boy, that sounds really familiar too. But I'm just gonna ignore it.
Her corpse didn't have any trace of glowing paint, though.
Oh, yeah. So then why was that floorboard loose?
The loose floorboard was the one under Tenko, right? If the culprit used it while she was still alive, she'd totally notice.
Who fucking cares? Fussing over that won't get us closer to the culprit!
We shouldn't dismiss this line of inquiry, however. Instead of butting our heads against this, how about we concentrate on another issue?
What other issue?
Perhaps first, we should figure out how and when exactly Tenko was killed.
When? So not during seance?
Tenko was in the metal cage for the whole seance, wasn't she? How could someone have gotten to her there?
Maybe the culprit killed her before she went under the metal cage.
That's not possible. She was alive at that point. Yes, she was unmistakably alive when the seance began.
That was right before we blew out the candles. But when the light came back...
The floorboard was removed at that point, so it's likely she was already dead then.
So she was killed when the room was dark?
But she was inside Cage, right? Going to think it impossible to kill her then.
Then she wasn't killed when the room was dark. It was a different time.
A different time?
How the fuck should I know? You figure it out, shitheads.
Huh?
Since Gonta said it was impossible, I'm proposing an alternate theory. Now hurry up and think! If you want to make my golden brain tingle, start circle jerking your limp dick brains! When Tenko got killed, it wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time, and she was dead when the cage was lifted.
What about moment Cage was lifted?
Ooh, like that.
When Cage lifted, culprit stabbed Tenko real fast. So fast, no one saw.
Oh my!
So who lifted the cage?
It was me.
Then obviously Himiko is the culprit!
There's no doubt! When Tenko got killed,
It wasn't during the seance! It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time, and she was dead when the cage was lifted. What about
Moment Cage was lifted.
That's wrong! No, it wasn't possible to kill her the moment the cage was lifted. Because the inside of the white cloth had Tenko's blood on it. That cloth was removed before the cage was lifted. If Tenko was stabbed then, there wouldn't be blood on the cloth.
what? But how could my golden brain be wrong when it felt so right?
The only possibility is that Tenko was killed during the seance.
I got your remodel right here! No, it's still wrong to think that Tenko was killed during the seance.
What?
I'm gonna prove it right now! My golden brain is gonna go all out! Tenko died after the seance. It happened when the sheet was lifted. That was the moment the culprit chose to stab the fuck out of Tenko through the cage! They stuck the thin blade through the gaps of the cage. And that clean white sheet got stained blood red!
But the weapon was a sickle. Only the blade could have fit through the gaps.
The blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko. Sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
I'll cut through your words! Wait just a minute. Tenko wasn't sitting down inside the cage. She was bent over with her forehead against the marker stone. And the cage itself was about 3 feet tall. The sickle's blade was too short to reach Tenko while she was in that position.
Then I messed up again? How could this happen? I am so embarrassed.
No worries, Mew. Everyone already knows you're an embarrassment to the human race.
Yeah, no worries.
How embarrassing!
If Shuichi is right, then it's impossible for Tenko to have been killed through the cage.
She couldn't have been killed during the seance since she was in the cage, right?
If she was killed then, the cloth over the cage would have been pierced.
Not during the seance or from below the floor. Then it's impossible, isn't it?
Yeah, for a living person.
Huh?
What if Angie's spirit killed Tenko?
What are you talking about? That's not possible!
We don't know that. Some things are impossible for a human, but not for a spirit.
Don't say stupid stuff like that! Screw spirits!
Stop that now.
Angie's spirit killed Tenko? Why?
Himiko?
Why would Angie's spirit kill Tenko?
What if Tenko killed Angie, and then Angie's spirit came back for revenge?
Like I said, that's impossible! Spirits can't be culprits!
Then explain how the culprit killed Tenko under these impossible circumstances.
Well,
See? You can't explain, can you? Only a spirit could have done that!
Wait! I know! What if the culprit was hiding inside the cage? If they were in there, they could have stabbed Tenko during the seance!
No. If there was someone else in the cage, we would have
I
noticed.
agree with Kaito. The culprit could have been inside the cage.
Nonsense. There was no space in the cage for the culprit to hide.
Maybe the culprit wouldn't need to hide in the first place.
What?
Also, the culprit could have killed her in the cage at any time. I think you know what I'm getting at, right?
I believe Maki is referring to Tenko herself.
What did you say?
Are you saying Tenko is the culprit?
She committed suicide.
Suicide?
If she committed suicide, it would explain a lot of things we couldn't figure out. She volunteered to be in the cage and then stabbed herself during the seance. It wouldn't matter how dark the room was.
But the sickle she was stabbed with was under the floor, right? If Tenko had stabbed herself, wouldn't the sickle still be inside the cage?
Oh my god. Mew actually said something smart.
Perhaps that explains why the floorboard was removed. After stabbing herself with the sickle, she threw it underneath the floor.
So she took off the floorboard to get rid of the sickle?
Yes, that makes sense to Gonta.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me. There's no reason for Tenko to commit suicide.
Maybe I wasn't too far off with the theory I had earlier. You know, about Tenko killing Angie.
Yeah?
Because Tenko and Angie were fighting for your attention, right? Tenko's pent-up frustration led her to commit such an atrocity. Her conscience couldn't handle it anymore, so she decided to end her own life.
What?
But if she was gonna kill herself, why do it during the seance?
She wanted to hide the truth of her suicide.
Really? Why?
There could only be one reason to hide it in a killing game, right? It's to take us down with her.
Take us down?
She wanted us to pick the wrong answer during the class trial, so she could bring us all down. She wanted us to die with her. Okay, well, she probably just wanted Himiko to die with her, but still.
But what are you saying? Tenko wasn't like that. She told me.
What if all of that was just a lie?
A lie?
Wait! We should believe Tenko's last words!
The true terror of class trials is that you shouldn't believe everything said.
Himiko, you said that Tenko would never do anything like that. But how can you be so sure? Did you guys actually know each other? People keep all sorts of secrets. Like Maki. She hid the fact that she's a cold-blooded killer. Is it wise of us to trust other people wholeheartedly in this kind of situation?
Jeez, you're such a naive dude.
Naive?
We're all just people, you know? Of course we're gonna have some secrets. What matters is whether there's any malice behind them.
People can lie about how malicious their hidden secrets really are.
Well, duh. It's impossible to know for sure what others are thinking. That's why it all comes down to whether or not you believe in yourself. If you get betrayed, it's not their fault. It's your fault for believing in them. That's why I believed in Maki Roll, because I wanted to believe in her.
Just because you're acting all cool doesn't mean you get to skip training.
Hey, come on. Don't you think you're being a little too strict?
Well, we come from different backgrounds. So for now, let's agree to disagree. No one's ever called me naive before. And from Kaito? Seriously?
Whether or not I believe. My heart can't reach Tenko anymore. But I want to believe in her. She wouldn't commit suicide. She wouldn't try to take us down. That's what I want to believe!
Me too. Gonta no can believe Tenko commits suicide.
But if Tenko did commit suicide, that would answer all of our questions.
If you insist we believe in Tenko, then provide a reason to do so.
All right, I'll give you a reason.
Is there a reason?
Yes, there is. Will you trust me, Maki? If it turns out I'm wrong, you can blame me all you like. But for now, I need you to trust in my detective work.
So far, suicide seems to be the best explanation.
Her plan was to take us down with her. So she hid her true intentions.
Tenko's not that kind of person! But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle and then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength,
I'll reveal the truth. Tenko couldn't have thrown the sickle under the floor because she died instantly.
instantly,
I'm certain of it. My investigation determined that she died instantly.
What's your opinion, Maki? I'd like to hear from someone who specializes in murder.
Maki.
You're right. I completely forgot about that important detail. Tenko died instantly.
what?
As an assassin, I specialize in killing my targets swiftly. I have no doubt that Tenko was killed immediately.
Words of a true killer. Pretty sure we can believe everything she said.
How could you forget that, Maki Roll? You better apologize to Shuichi.
Excuse me?
It's okay, Kaito, really. No apology necessary. Anyway, Tenko died so suddenly that she couldn't have gotten rid of the sickle. Knowing that, the theory that she killed herself just doesn't fit, correct?
Just like I thought. Tenko wouldn't commit suicide.
Thank goodness, Himiko.
Which means someone definitely killed Tenko during the seance.
Her suicide was considered because we could not determine how she was killed.
No! There must have been a way! We're gonna figure it out!
Did any of the participants witness anything peculiar during the seance? If you know something, please speak up. It could be the key to solving this mystery. Did anything seem out of the ordinary during the seance?
There is something that bothers me. The fact that the seance failed. The ritual was perfect, and yet it failed. How utterly strange.
Now that I think about it, while we were all singing the song, I heard something fall.
I'm more concerned about how dark it got in there. I mean, it was totally pitch black. My job was to relight the candles. Moving along the walls was seriously tough.
Something fall.
I agree! Himiko, you think that something fell because of that sound you heard, right?
It sounded like something heavy fell down and hit the floor really hard. What could have fallen down?
Fallen down? There wasn't anything on the ceiling that could have fallen down, right?
Am I wrong? I thought something fell, but
The sound was pretty loud. It did seem like something hit the floorboards.
This is it! I think the floorboard coming off had something to do with that sound. That floorboard came loose at some point during the seance, right?
could the floorboard have made such a loud sound, though?
It was the sound of an intense impact.
If the impact was that intense, then it could have loosened the floorboard.
All right then, let's go with that. We all gotta put our heads together now. So what made the floorboard come loose?
Judging from the sound, there must have been considerable force.
Someone who participated in the seance. Maybe that person tore off the floorboard.
That wouldn't make such a loud crashing sound.
Maybe the wooden statue fell over.
But that statue was still on top of the cage.
Culprit hide under floor. Then stood up with such might.
But we already said there was no one under the floor.
Someone must have stomped through the floorboard.
I agree. Kokichi is right. The floorboard came loose because someone stomped on it.
The floorboards fit perfect. Going to make sure first time we go to empty room.
When we first saw the room, yes. But when I looked again during the investigation, one of the cross pieces supporting the floorboards was cut off. After examining the cut, I concluded that it must have been done deliberately.
Someone? You mean the culprit, right? Why'd they do that?
What did the culprit stand to gain by cutting the cross piece?
I see now. That's right. The floorboard might have been used as a seesaw.
Yeah? A seesaw?
The crosspiece at one end of the floorboard had been cut off. The other two cross pieces holding up that board were close to the cage. Meaning, if you were to apply force to the end of the floorboard with no crosspiece, The next crosspiece would act as a fulcrum to turn the floorboard into a lever. A lever capable of lifting up Tenko's entire body.
Her whole body lifted up?
Yeah, that sounds like a seesaw, all right. But why bother lifting Tenko's body?
They couldn't have killed Tenko like that, unless they used the sickle.
That's exactly it. Using the seesaw trick, it was possible to kill Tenko with a sickle.
Huh? How?
In order for the culprit to kill Tenko with a seesaw trick, the placement of the sickle is the most important factor. That's it! The sickle was at the top of the iron cage, with the blade facing down. The reason we didn't see it was because of the fabric covering the cage. Also, the wooden statue kept the blade in place. It's true that the sickle's handle was thick, which made the statue wobble. But the statue's weight kept it from falling over. Once everything was in place, if you stepped hard enough on the seesaw, Tenko's body would have shot upward and hit the blade on the top of the cage. She was bent over, meaning the sickle's blade would have connected with her neck.
The 6-inch sickle blade wasn't long enough to stab Tenko in her crouch position. But with the floorboard acting as a seesaw, it could compensate for the blade's length.
Bringing the victim to the sickle rather than bringing the sickle to the victim. That's definitely an unorthodox idea.
It's crazy, but it would explain how Tenko got stabbed while she was in the cage.
So the sound we heard was the culprit stomping on the floorboard.
That impact make floorboard come loose.
Looks like we got ourselves a good old-fashioned seesaw homicide. Wait, what the hell's a seesaw homicide? That's fucking crazy!
The craziness is what really makes the killing game fun, you know? They can't get away with murder the normal way, so they gotta think outside the box. Kudos, culprit! You did a great job keeping me entertained.
Indeed. Well played, Himiko.
Yeah?
It was you, wasn't it? The one behind the seesaw homicide.
Why her?
Because she's the only one capable of carrying out this plan.
The only one? Why's that?
Because this seesaw homicide required its location to be prepared beforehand.
By cutting the crosspiece beneath the floorboard, you mean?
Then the culprit would need to lure their victim into the prepared room. That is why you chose that room for the seance. Is it not, Himiko?
Oh yeah! Himiko was the one who chose the site for the seance!
She likely found out about my plans for the seance somehow.
You were quite vocal about the seance, Kyo. You even had instructions for it in your lab.
Our culprit, Himiko, prepared her seesaw trap ahead of time. Then she waited for me to host the seance and suggested the middle room. She led us all into holding the seance right where she wanted it. Then, she killed Tenko, all according to plan.
That's a lie, right? Himiko did such a thing?
In the end, Himiko, who Tenko cherished and loved, tragically killed her.
Wait! We don't know that, right? He's wrong, right, Himiko? Himiko would never kill Tenko, right?
Kill Tenko? I killed Tenko?
Himiko?
What's wrong, Himiko?
Well, now.
It's okay.
Absolutely right! Hey, all right!
This is my impression of a spooky, scary ghost.
Ah! I'm fine with real ghosts, but impressions of them are too scary!
Logic does not compute.
Huh? Did you hear something?
No, I didn't hear anything.
You know what else is scary? Sweet buns. Yep, tasty, tasty sweet buns. So round, so sweet, so delicious.
That doesn't sound scary at all!
I'm scared too. Scared of losing my friends.
Huh? Did you hear something?
No, I didn't hear anything.
Answer us, Himiko. You chose the middle room to lure us into your trap, did you not? Then you used that trap to kill Tenko, yes?
Well, Donkey Lips, did you kill that twat?
Wait! Must be some mistake. No way Himiko is culprit!
Then she needs to defend herself. Otherwise, this debate is deadlocked.
I don't care if you gotta use magic to do it, but say something already!
Are you even listening?
No, I'm not listening. I don't care anymore. I'm too tired. Angie died. Tenko died. Why did I have to survive? And now, you're all saying I killed them? I just don't care anymore.
Himiko.
Do whatever. If you want to vote for me, then just go ahead.
The game gets really blah if the suspect isn't into it.
That's not the problem.
Damn it! Don't tell me you've given up.
Himiko, don't give up!
Don't you understand? My life is riding on the outcome of this trial!
Just shut up. I told you, I'm too tired. It's all just a big pain. I can't put up with it anymore.
What are you talking about? If you give up here...
You needn't worry. Himiko was the one who chose that room. Therefore, she is unmistakably the culprit.
Impossible! Himiko would never kill Tenko! Himiko not that kind of person! Gonta can tell by Himiko's face!
Himiko's a little slow, so I don't think she's capable of handling a complicated crime.
I also think Himiko's not the culprit. Somehow.
Either way, we gotta look for more possibilities.
That does seem like rather a pointless quest.
No, it's not. We gotta be strong. Gotta keep thinking. Then we might find new truth. So no give up, Himiko!
Performing the seance in that room was Himiko's decision, was it not?
What if someone steered her into picking that room?
Of the 3 empty rooms, why did you select the middle one, Himiko? Because you laid your trap there?
Was trap only in that room? Other rooms may be trapped too.
I agree! It's just like Gonta said. Each room was the same. They were all trapped.
What? Is that true?
Kokichi will tell you.
I was way too careless. Wait, what are you talking about?
While you were in the room next to the crime scene, you found a loose floorboard, right?
Well, I didn't find it so much as I stepped through it and tripped.
What? Hold on! There was also a loose floorboard in the next room?
So the culprit prepared a trap in all 3 empty rooms, not just the middle one.
If the culprit set traps in all the rooms, then they wouldn't need to select a room themselves.
So the real trap was for someone else to pick a room and take the blame.
I see. We were caught in the culprit's trap all along.
Especially you!
But now there's no reason to suspect Himiko, right?
Himiko, do you remember what Tenko told you? Live life facing forward. She said that to you, right? If you give up on living, you'd be betraying her memory. We're all trying to keep our promises to the dead. This trial, It's not just for our lives. It's for everyone who's died as well. That's why we can't give up. This is our responsibility. We live on.
You're right. Yeah, that's right. If I gave up here, I wouldn't be able to face Angie or Tenko.
That's right! So let's do our best!
Alright, I'm not gonna say it's a pain anymore. I won't give up! I'll fight alongside everyone and survive!
Do not say everyone. After all, the Blackened is still among us.
Jeez, there you go. Killing the mood like usual. But damn! Well said, Shuichi. That's what I'd expect from my soul, bro.
Your soul, bro?
Well, anyway, do you think the Blackened this time has some sort of superpower?
What are you talking about?
Well, as a self-proclaimed expert of stepping through floorboards, isn't it weird that no one stepped through that floorboard before the culprit used it?
Ah, that is a good point.
It must have been barrier magic. Well, that's one possibility, but I think it might have been something else.
This is it! It's because of the magic circle at the scene of the crime. Before we began the seance, we were warned not to step on the circle. The floorboard in question was within the circle. That's why no one stepped on it.
So the magic circle's purpose was to keep us away from the whole trick.
That was part of the culprit's plans too?
It has to be you! Kyo, was it you?
Whatever are you talking about?
I'm talking about Tenko's murder.
Kyo?
Why do you suspect me?
Because you were the one who drew the magic circle. The circle kept us from discovering the seesaw trick. But that's not all it was for. In order to make the murder succeed, variables like Tenko's position and the placement of the cage needed to be defined. And those variables were defined by using the magic circle. In short, the circle itself was the most important tool in this murder. Knowing that, the person who drew the magic circle has to be the culprit.
Well, Kyo,
Answer already! Did you do it?
What is so funny?
I was just thinking. So this is how each Blackened must have felt. What an intriguing experience this is.
What? An intriguing
experience?
But if I am the culprit as you claim, then I stomped on the floorboard, yes? So, do tell. How could I have stomped on the floorboard during that darkened seance?
I see. That is problem.
Unless that is made clear, you cannot be certain I am the culprit.
How can you be so calm when you're backed into a corner like this?
I will explain that in due time. Please answer my question first.
Wait a minute. Maybe...
Did you figure it out?
That's it! The culprit used touch. They didn't see, they felt.
That way they could get around in the dark, like how I got to the candle.
Wasn't Seesaw in middle of room? Gonta doesn't think it was near wall.
So they probably used something besides the wall to move then, right?
Were there any other markers within reach?
Of course, the answer to that is there was nothing of the sort.
I see now! That's it! The magic circle! They used the magic circle! Remember? The magic circle was drawn with salt. The culprit used the salt's texture to feel their way through the dark.
I see. So Kyo traced the magic circle with his hands to get to the loose floorboard.
Oh, I see. You drew the magic circle with salt to use it as a guide.
An interesting thought. It is unfortunate that it is so wrong. Recall the document. What did the magic circle look like?
Based on the document, the magic circle wouldn't reach the corners of the room.
So what?
When the room was darkened, each of us was in a corner of the room, yes? The magic circle didn't reach us, so I could not have followed it, yes?
But you're talking about the magic circle in the document. That doesn't mean the circle you drew was the same.
No, I most definitely drew it exactly the same. I have it perfectly memorized.
So which is it? Is there any way to check?
Not anymore. The magic circle is a complete mess from being trampled on.
Everyone, may I have your attention, please?
What a pain. We don't have any way to check it now.
Excuse me, everyone. May I have your attention, please?
Well, I guess there's no point in discussing the magic circle anymore.
Hey, may I have your attention?
Oh, I said cut that out! It's too bright!
I apologize. I just wanted everyone to listen to me.
About what?
I had Miu add another function to my body, in addition to the flashlight.
What the? No way! Did you really? Stop! You can't! I didn't install it for that
Please, let me use it! With it, I might be able to save everyone.
All right, so what is this function?
It's an image recording function.
Image recording?
Specifically, this function allows me to dispense a printout of my own memory. I'll give it a try. Ready?
From your mouth?
I also used magic like that before.
This printout is my memory of being kicked out of the seance. Please confirm that the floor of the empty room is clearly visible. Go on, take the picture and see for yourself.
Okay, got it.
Well, Shuichi, do you notice anything?
There! This helped a lot, Kibo. Without you, I never would have seen through Kiyo's lie.
My lie?
You just said that you drew the magic circle exactly as it appears in the document. But that's a lie, isn't it? The magic circle at the scene had lines that stretched to the room's corners, which means that you would be able to find the floorboard from anywhere in the room.
So it was different from the document after all.
All because Himiko noticed. And because of Kibo, too.
Hey, where's my thanks? I'm the one who installed that function into Kibo.
Hey, yeah, what was it you were saying about its purpose?
Oh, to be honest, the purpose of that image recording function is to monitor my health. Specifically, I make Kibo use that function every day to analyze my turds. Your what? Why? Shit is a great indicator of intestinal health and gut bacteria quality. Plus, taking a satisfying shit does wonders for a woman's natural beauty, so... See? You're all grossed out! This is why I didn't want to tell you about my plan!
Quit talking about your poop. No one cares. Kyo, you killed Tenko, didn't you? Just give up and admit it already.
So, Kyo, if you have any objections, you can...
Your deductions are fiction. Well, since you've given me the option, I will most certainly object. To be honest, it's unimportant, but it may be an amusing diversion. Now I shall bear witness to your abilities, Shuichi. Do entertain me. If you are going to claim I am the culprit, then what of the murder weapon? It was set up in the cage. The only people capable of that are Kokichi and Shuichi, who carried the cage. So suspicion should fall on them.
True, we could have placed the sickle there, but we could not have removed it later. Because we weren't the ones who lifted the cage. That was Himiko.
The only person who could have collected the sickle is Himiko. But the only people who could have placed the sickle are Kokichi and Shuichi. But in regards to that dilemma, I did not carry the cage, nor did I lift it. I had no opportunity to touch the sickle.
I'll cut through your words! The only person who could have set up the sickle and retrieved it afterward is Kyo. That was done by covering the cage with a white cloth. You could have secretly placed the sickle when you draped the cloth. And retrieved it afterward when you removed the cloth. Then, while everyone was distracted, you discreetly dropped the sickle under the floor.
Wonderful! That's exactly correct.
It's correct? Then why don't you give up already?
The trick I put so much work into is just wasted effort now. Alas.
So, it was you? You killed Tenko?
Let me guess. You'll never forgive me. Himiko, you must hate me so very much. Maybe you'd feel better if I was executed by Monokuma. But unfortunately for you, that won't happen. Because if you vote for me, every spotless, including myself, will die.
What you talking about, Kyo?
You still don't understand? I killed Tenko, that is the truth. But it is meaningless in this class trial.
Meaningless?
You mean Monokuma's extra rule, right?
You see, I killed Tenko, but not Angie. For us, Tenko's death is nothing but a trivial issue. Because the Blackened in this trial is the culprit who killed Angie.
Trivial issue? No, that's gotta be a lie. You probably killed Angie too.
That is simply not possible. Recall that I was unable to enter Angie's lab.
Oh, only student council members and Kokichi could enter research lab.
How could I have possibly killed Angie when I couldn't even enter her lab?
We can figure that out. No one else could have done it besides you. If you're the one who killed Tenko, you gotta be the one who killed Angie.
I understand how you feel, Himiko, but maybe we can discuss this rationally and calmly. There is a non-zero possibility that Kyo is telling the truth.
So you understand how she feels. I see. Wait, robots can understand human feelings?
Of course I understand. I work really hard to understand.
Hey, why are you getting all worked up, Kibo? Chill, dude.
That's enough! It's voting time! I'm gonna vote for him!
Voting for me will only help the one who murdered Angie.
Isn't Kyo culprit?
Of course I'm not. This case was an error on my part. Monokuma added that rule after both bodies were found, yes? How was I to know that the trial would only be for Angie's killer? Had I known, I certainly wouldn't have killed Tenko.
You're lying! You killed Tenko and Angie!
Now hold on. Jumping to conclusions here is dangerous.
We should talk it out more. This case might have juicy plot twists waiting to happen.
Nuts to that! Any way you look at this case, Kyo is obviously the culprit.
Yeah, there's sort of no other way to look at it.
No, it's too dangerous to vote before we arrive at a logical decision.
The culprit's one of you! Wowee! This argument is getting intense! At times like this.
The Ultimate Academy is proud to present its very own more phenomenal trial grounds.
Yippee! I've been waiting for this!
Why were you waiting for it?
Kyo killed Tenko and Angie!
Kibo! We don't know for certain that Kyo killed Angie.
He forced his way into Angie's research lab and killed her!
I got this! But he couldn't get into Angie's research lab.
The katana was found in Kyo's lab.
Kyo! Anyone could have entered my lab.
So Kyo did kill Tenko, but he not blackened?
Kokichi! Perhaps there's a second blackened we need to find.
He was planning to use the new rule to protect himself all along.
Kyo! Not possible. That rule was added after both murders.
We solved the mystery of Tenko's death. Can't we just vote now?
I got this! Not yet. There's still another mystery to solve.
This is our answer!
It would be a mistake to vote before we've completely solved Angie's murder. And there's still the mystery of Tenko's murder.
Mystery? What kind of mystery?
Well, Kyo's confession derailed our conversation a bit. But we still have to go over one of the clues found at Tenko's crime scene. I believe it might even have something to do with Angie's murder. This is it! The bloodstain found under the floor. Maki and I found it during the investigation. It was beneath the floorboard that the culprit stomped on.
Is that Tenko's blood?
That bloodstain was too far from Tenko's corpse to have been hers.
Also, the bloodstain was already dry when we found it. But the blood from Tenko's body hadn't even begun to dry yet.
Well, that's weird. Why was that bloodstain the only dry one?
That's it! The bloodstain wasn't from Tenko's murder. It was there before we started the seance.
Before the seance?
That's it! That bloodstain wasn't Tenko's. It was Angie's.
Why was blood from Angie at the scene of Tenko's murder?
Yeah, wasn't Angie killed in her research lab?
Just because we found her body there doesn't mean she was killed there.
Ah, I guess that's possible.
If Angie wasn't killed in her lab, then that opens up a lot more possibilities. We assumed that only council members could have killed Angie since her body was in her lab. But if she died somewhere else, then we can't suspect just the council members anymore.
So the culprit didn't enter her lab, but waited for her to come out of it?
I'm not sure if the culprit waited for her, but they probably killed her when she came out. Well, I thought that was more likely from the start. So I went to places Angie might have gone and checked all 3 empty rooms.
Places she might have gone? Why did you check the empty rooms then?
The empty rooms were the only places I could think of that Angie would go.
Did Angie have business in rooms?
It seems Kokichi's up to his usual misleading nonsense again.
I do lie a lot, and I could be lying right now too. But I'm pretty sure someone's panicking right now because of my lie. The art research lab is not where Angie was killed. She was killed in the empty room instead!
She left her lab on her own?
But why would she go into an empty room? There shouldn't have been anything in there. Except for candles.
That's it! She wanted a candle! To keep herself awake at night. She would drip hot wax on her body.
That sounds like something only you would do, Mew.
That's it! She wanted a candle. To keep herself awake at night. That's it! The candle!
I agree. That's it. Angie went to that room to get a candle.
Yeah, for kinky wax play.
No. Angie was going to use it for the ritual. According to the Necronomicon, to resurrect the dead.
Then, did she seek out a candle so she could burn the book?
That's right. There's nothing to start a fire with in Angie's lab. So she went to go get a candle from one of the empty rooms.
And that's when the culprit attacked her.
That's why there was dried blood underfloor.
Which means Angie was attacked in the same room the seance was held. Bravo, Himiko! Well done for choosing that room for the seance. If we hadn't done the seance in that room, then Tenko's murder would have been in another room. If that happened, no one would have discovered Angie's bloodstain under the floorboards.
That's right. Shuichi and I only checked under the floorboards where Tenko died.
Yep, it's all thanks to Himiko for choosing the same room as Angie. This must be a Tua's will. Or maybe the power of magic.
It's neither. I just picked one.
Hold on. You're all acting as though you've proven that as fact already. You claim Angie was murdered in the empty room, and then moved to the lab? Then how do you explain the large amount of blood in the lab? It may be possible to carry a body, but blood cannot be moved.
I think she was still alive after the attack in the empty room. She was killed after she was carried to her lab. This is it! The fatal wound was a cut to the back of her neck from the katana. But she also showed signs of blunt force trauma, and I think I know why. After Angie was knocked unconscious in the empty room, she was killed in her lab.
I see. So that puddle of blood is from the killing blow. Ha! It's all clear now. Angie was attacked in the empty room, carried to her lab, and it was there that the culprit finished her off!
All clear. This is all clear. What are you all talking about? All clear? What is all clear? What are you? All clear? What are you all? You what? What are? I will not fear. I will not back down. Sweet Korekio, calm yourself. Their words are all hollow. There is no meaning to any of them. You must teach these ignorant children a lesson. Yes, you're right. Okay, I'll teach them.
What the hell are you mumbling about? You're giving me the goddamn willies!
Not yet. Nothing is clear at all. It's full of doubts, of mysteries, of a dense, impenetrable fog! Nothing is clear at all! Angie was attacked in the empty room first, and then carried into the research lab? Impossible! Impossible! That's nothing but a delusion! You intend to poison our minds with your delusions?
It's no delusion. Angie's 2 external wounds tell the story. After she was struck in the empty room, she was carried to the art research lab and then killed.
You say the culprit carried Angie's body? And not a single drop of blood fell? The hallway and empty room had no bloodstains. Even if we wiped them down, there'd still be traces of evidence left behind. But there was no evidence anywhere, was there, Shuichi?
I'll cut through your words! There was evidence left at the scene. The bloody tape under Angie's body.
What?
It was wrapped around her head to stop the bleeding while she was being carried.
Bloody tape? Gonta didn't notice at all.
It was under the body. It's most likely evidence the culprit should have gotten rid of. But since it was hidden, the culprit didn't notice and failed to dispose of it.
It must have fallen as the fatal blow was dealt, and ended up under her body.
It must have been Atua who did that for us.
What? Atua? How long are you going to keep that up?
Now we know most of the mystery behind Angie's murder.
I'm convinced there's only one person who could have killed Angie. It has to be you! It's you, Kyo. You killed Angie.
So it's true!
Well, that was obvious. Such a boring, obvious answer.
You killed both of them. Why did you kill them?
In terms of pure logic, only one victim was necessary to win.
Why? Why you killed them both?
I think one of the murders was an accident.
An accident?
That's right. It wasn't part of the plan.
Huh? Which one?
That's it! Angie's murder was an accident.
What? Tenko wasn't accident?
That's right. Kyo originally planned to kill someone with a seesaw trick. But while he was making preparations in the empty room, Angie walked in. So he decided to kill her in order to keep her from talking.
She just happened to walk in on the culprit setting up and was killed.
Then he should have just stopped there. Once he killed Angie, there was no reason for him to kill Tenko.
You only needed to kill one for this game. Killing two is pointless. If you get bonus points for killing more, then sure. Otherwise, it leaves more clues behind.
Why, Kyo? Why you kill two of our friends?
What is it? What on earth are you talking about? No, I'm not the culprit. So why is everyone looking at me like I am? Why? Why are they? Why is it? Calm yourself, Korekio. Yes. You mustn't raise your voice. You mustn't stutter. You mustn't lose composure. You mustn't become flustered. You mustn't waver. Look at their horrid faces. This sorry lot is not worth agonizing over. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
There he goes again. What the hell's wrong with him?
It almost seems like he's talking with someone.
Someone? He's just talking to himself. And why the hell is he wearing lipstick?
No matter how loudly you protest, this is a trivial matter. I will never acknowledge your allegations. Not a single one of them. For you see, there is no evidence that I killed Angie. No, I will not acknowledge it. I will only acknowledge facts, true events. I won't acknowledge fiction, mystery. I won't acknowledge your deductions or guesses. Well said. Good job, Korekio. Yes, thanks.
Ah, creeps me the fuck out!
You're wrong. There is evidence.
What? You do realize bluffs like that won't work, yes?
The weapon that was used to knock Angie unconscious in the empty room. That weapon tells us the whole story, Kyo.
That's not possible. I think you may have misunderstood. Apologize. Come on, apologize. 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 Come on. Apologize. 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 Apologize.
Seriously, what the hell's happening?
I have nothing to admit. You are simply wrong. Yes, I'm not the culprit. So I have nothing to confess. I have nothing to admit. You are simply wrong. Why must you force your delusions on us? Your logic? That's merely a delusion. Well said, Correcchio. To continue this debate is meaningless. Why must you force your delusions on us? Your logic? That's merely a delusion. Well said. I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me! Correcchio speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot. Apologize. 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 I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me! Correcchio speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot. Apologize. 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 I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me! Correcchio speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot. Apologize. 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 You have no proof that Correcchio is the killer.
It ends here! Kyo hit Angie with the same floorboard used in the seesaw trick.
I see. And how do you know the floorboard was the murder weapon?
There was a small patch of dried blood on the underside of the floorboard.
Angie's blood?
Blood that spattered there when the culprit struck Angie with the board. But that's not the only evidence that she was hit with that floorboard. There's also the blood stain under the floor to consider. For that to be there, the floorboard must not have been in place at the time of the attack.
Good point. Had the floorboard been in place, her blood wouldn't have splattered beneath it.
Kyo's earlier confession is further evidence that the floorboard was used.
How?
If the weapon used to hit Angie is the floorboard from the seesaw trick,
It means the culprit knew about the seesaw, so the same person killed Tenko and Angie. I believe that while Kyo was setting up the seesaw, he was holding the board when Angie walked in.
And he cold-cocked her with a floorboard!
all you can do now is accept it. You even confessed to Tenko's murder already.
So it's true. This is the truth.
Looks like we're almost at the end. All right, Shuichi. I'll leave the finale to you. Bring down the house!
Shuichi, please, put an end to this. For Angie and Tenko's sake. End this class trial!
I understand. I'll go over everything one more time. Kyo, I want you to confess. No, I will force you to confess. This is the truth of the case! Let's look back at the first murder. It was late last night. The culprit was in the empty room on the 4th floor. The culprit was preparing the seance murder they had planned. To use the floorboard as a seesaw, they had to cut the crosspiece supporting it. The plan was to make the same preparations for all 3 empty rooms. This would divert suspicion away from the culprit and whoever picked a room. To cut the crosspieces, they needed a saw. I imagine they got one from the warehouse. They were planning to cut the crosspieces in all 3 rooms. However, when the culprit was working on the middle room, the unexpected happened. Angie walked into that room and saw the culprit making their preparations. She needed some fire for the ritual and had gone to the room for a candle. At that point, the culprit had not finished the setup and was just cutting crosspieces. Angie might not have concluded that it was tied to some kind of murder plan. But now that Angie had seen it, the culprit couldn't use the seesaw trick. Any other person might have just given up, but not our culprit. The culprit took the floorboard they loosened and struck the unsuspecting Angie in the head. The culprit did not want to give up on their plan and had to improvise. They wrapped duct tape around Angie's injury to stop the bleeding. Then they picked up her unconscious body and carried her to a research lab. While she was unconscious, the culprit hurried to tie up this loose end. But because they were in a hurry, they made a crucial oversight. They didn't notice the duct tape had peeled off and was under Angie's body. Without that evidence, we may never have figured out the culprit's trick. Carrying the supplies they needed, the culprit returned to the ultimate art lab. Locked the front door from inside. And took out the katana they brought from their own lab. They then stabbed Angie in the back of the neck, finally killing her. Then, to further confuse us, the culprit attempted to make a locked room mystery. First, they used rope from the warehouse and hung 4 effigies upside down. There were 2 reasons for this. To overwhelm the room with an occult atmosphere. And the other was the key to locking the room. The culprit stuck the katana into Kaede's effigy near the rear entrance. And spun the effigy around to twist up the rope. After enough turns, the culprit let go and headed for the rear door. Once released, the effigy began spinning, and the gold leaf katana with it. The handle of the katana then hit the sliding lock, locking the door. A difficult trick, but remember that the lock was so loose it moved at the slightest touch. The culprit also would have had the opportunity to attempt it many times. Once complete, the door was locked, but the duct tape was left behind. Perhaps the culprit noticed it, but by that point, it was too late. The room was sealed. There was no way for them to get back inside. Then, this morning, we opened up the room and discovered Angie's body. But the culprit wasn't finished. They wanted one more murder. To do that, they manipulated us into performing this seance. Of the 3 empty rooms, the middle one was chosen for the seance. I was invited by Kokichi to take Kibo's place in the seance. Tenko volunteered to be the medium, but she never imagined it would get her killed. To perform the seance, the culprit claimed they needed something for Tenko. A small stone that Himiko had brought from the courtyard. Tenko, at the culprit's request, bowed her head until it was touching the stone. That position was instrumental in making sure the murder went as planned. Next, Kokichi and I placed the iron cage over Tenko in the middle of the magic circle. The culprit then volunteered to drape the white cloth over the iron cage. We didn't realize it at the time, but that was a deliberate decision by the culprit. They needed to set up the murder weapon that was used to kill Tenko. While they were covering the cage with a cloth, they secretly placed the sickle. Finally, 4 of us placed the wooden statue on top of the cage. The culprit used the weight of the statue to keep the murder weapon in place. After the preparations were complete, we began the seance. In complete darkness, we each stood in one corner and sang the Caged Child song. When the song finished, the soul of the dead was supposed to enter the medium. But our culprit had another plan: to commit a murder in the darkness. Right after we started singing, the culprit began making their way toward Tenko. It would have been quite difficult to do in total darkness, but our culprit had a guide. They used the lines of the magic circle drawn with salt. The culprit felt for the salt and used it to guide them along. And when the culprit reached the center of the circle, they found the floorboard that had its crosspiece cut off the night before. Then lifted up their foot and stomped down hard on the floorboard. The floorboard lifted up like a seesaw and pushed Tenko's body up toward the ceiling of the cage. Tenko was stabbed in the back of the neck by the sickle on the top of the cage. She was killed right before our eyes, and we didn't even see it. After committing the crime, the culprit followed the salt back to their corner. Finished the ritual and had us light the candles. We followed the culprit's directions and removed the equipment used for the seance. And discovered Tenko's body. And while we were all focused on the body, the culprit picked up the sickle and dropped it under the floor through the hole in the corner of the room. Ironically, the final step of the murder was unwittingly carried out by us. The culprit had planned the murder so that we would unintentionally destroy some evidence. That evidence was the magic circle that the culprit used to navigate in the dark. However, the culprit didn't know that Kibo had taken a picture. He really saved us. Without that, we wouldn't know what changes were made to the circle. But now we know for certain, and we know the culprit drew the magic circle. Korekio Shinguchi, the ultimate anthropologist. You're the culprit behind these murders. That's where my detective work leads us. It all fits.
Sweet Korekio, there are times when it's necessary to admit defeat. Admit? Yeah, okay.
So you finally admit you did it.
Unfortunately, yes. Yes, it's unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. My one regret, my only regret, was not being able to make 100 friends.
100 friends?
It was my dream to make 100 friends. Oh, it's so unfortunate! I was so close to 100!
What are you talking about? I do not understand a word of this.
Who gives a fuck? Let's vote for this kooky bastard and be done with this already!
Roger that! One voting time coming up!
The heart racing excitement as...
The heart racing excitement!
As the blackened and the spotless finally face off!
It's voting time! Now then, it seems the voting has finished. Let's see the result. Who'll be chosen as the blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one?
for now.
No.
Right!
Oh?
Hey!
Hey, hey!
Shut up!
I...
What?
Ne?
Yes. There is someone that I love. I love her with all my heart, and she loves me with all her heart. Yes, we vowed an endless love to each other, forever bound by fate. None can come between us. We are bound by an intense love, no matter what anyone says.
What?
Don't tell me.
Wonderful.
Wait!
Yeah.
Kersploosh!
Hey!
Hey,
You see... Sister...
Huh?
Wait!
Right?
Wait!
Whatever is the matter? I loved her so deeply, and she loved me so deeply. The fact that we were siblings meant nothing to us. They called it forbidden love, but none could stop the love we shared. Oh, how I long for my sister's warmth. The only time I felt at peace was when I was enveloped in my sister's warmth. For my beloved sister.
Always messing around.
No. Huh? Sister. However... Huh? Do you understand? For my beloved sister!
Huh?
Incomprehensible.
Sister.
Yes.
What?
I am Korekio's older sister.
What?
Yes. I am pleased. Sister. Correcchio.
Are you serious?
I told you.
Ew.
Well, you know.
What was that?
Because
Unacceptable. Huh? I... Wonderful.
Yeah?
Why, you?
Then...
Excellent. Wonderful.
Huh?
But
Can this be? Beautiful. Well,
No way!
well, you know. Let's see. For my beloved sister!
are you okay?
However...
What is that?
Correcchio. Oh dear.
Why? But how?
Do not worry. That's right. Sister.
What was that?
Well, And another thing.
Maybe.
Shut up!
You got me!
So then... Sister... Sister... Correcchio.
Oh. It's punishment time!
Huh? Sister... That's right.
What?
Therefore, from an anthropological point of view, yes.
What was that?
Now then, I've prepared a very special punishment.
I shall observe. That's right. Humanity is beautiful.
It's punishment time!
How gory!
How can this be? Yay!
That's right!
Hey,
Eh?
Well now. Wah, 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 wah.
You?
I told you. What's the point?
Eh?
Oh, yeah.
so long. Farewell.
Always messing around. Of course!
But...
You're right.
Going to do his best.
You're right.
Okay. That's right.
Ha!
Got a minute?
Oh.
Actually...
But... Well, you know... Shit.
How rude!
But you know... I believe in you!
Okay.
Well, of course.
Hey, hey! How exciting!
No way!
You all right?
Okay.
Oh.
You're so dumb.
Huh?
Because I'm a liar. But...
Right?
Nuh-uh. Because... Hey!
Damn it.
Is she hard to carry, Gonta?
No, she fine.
She's sleeping very peacefully.
She's all tuckered out after crying. Robots sleep well after leaking their oils too, right?
I have told you many times that I do not use oil as my fuel source.
But wow, that really surprised me. She passed out as soon as she stopped crying.
Yeah, but she looks so peaceful sleeping like that.
She probably felt better after letting it all out, don't you think?
Yeah, I hope so.
Then Gonta carry Himiko to her room.
Make sure you focus real good on your back, you hear me? You'll need that focus if you want to feel her little mosquito bites poking ya!
There's no way he'd do such a thing. Gonta is a gentleman after all.
Hmm. Huh?
Well...
Ha! Ha ha!
But...
Got it.
Okay.
Ha!
Okay.
Got it. Damn it! I don't have time to be dying. I still haven't gone into space yet. Damn it. No way am I gonna die here. No way.